now we've got what I would consider to be the Rolls-Royce of cattle handling systems. It is so safe, and I can't stress that enough. You've got to be safe. Hi, my name's David Drinkwater, and this is the Chapel of Barris farm at Stonehaven. We've been here for about 36 years. Originally a dairy, and we have about 100 acres of arable, the rest's in grass, and we try and predominantly finish Limousin and Charolais heifers at 600 kilos. We used to handle the cattle through a Ritchie and handling gates, which wasn't ideal, and when you're on your own, probably wasn't the safest way of looking after cattle and looking after yourself. When we started to look at putting a system in, we obviously started on the internet, how everybody else does, and we looked at different systems. But the one that sort of stood out to me was the Pari system. I liked the way there was no corners in the pens or anything like that, and the cattle seemed to be flowing naturally. So I contacted the guys at Pari, and they came out to see us, Giles and Eric. We sat down with them sometime. We decided what sort of crate would work well for us. I only needed a system to handle about 50 to 60 cattle, as that was the sort of biggest amount I was ever handling at one time. After a bit of toing and throwing, we sort of come up with a design that we were both happy with. And then the lads set off and took all the measurements, very professional, come out, did it. We had the plans, we sent back to New Zealand. They come back to us, and eventually we ended up with a system that we've got now. When it come to doing the concrete work and stuff like that, I had a friend of mine who come and helped us with the concrete. We raked all the concrete to Pari, give us the rake to put a good pattern and good grip on the concrete. When the system landed here, it was fitted within 2 days. It is classed as a mobile system, so it's very good for tax deductibility reasons. The system now has been with me for about 12 months, and it really does work well. It's very safe. I handle all the cattle on my own now. I can sometimes get my grandkids helping us. They just stand in the safe zone. The cattle just seem to flow and want to go around the system. It's really handy for catching them, weighing them. The shedder on the front is really handy, and it's also the width of the gates is really handy for me backing trailers up and loading cattle. So I'm very, very happy with the system. I wanted a crate where I could handle 300 kilos and 700 kilo cattle safely. My old crate hadn't got a squeeze on it. It makes a tremendous difference. If you get a little beast in, you can squeeze it up and it just stands there and doesn't move. It really makes it easy and safe to handle. I've got full access right round, as you've seen from the video, for clipping cattle. I can let cattle out of it. If anything happened, if a beast did go down, I can open the crate right up and release cattle at any point. When I'm using the crate, everything can be used from the back. I've got a 3-way shedder on the front, which I only use one side of. It's really handy for running cattle out when I'm pulling them out to take away, or I need to isolate a beast for any reason. I can work it all from the back. I can open the side gate to let the cattle in. They come through. I've got the headlock, and once you get used to it, it's really easy catching the cattle. And as you're releasing one, you can nearly be letting the other cattle run into the beast, and then you keep a continuous flow. It's really, really handy for that. When we fill the race up, we can get 4 to 5 cattle in. I can stand on the walkway, which was something I wasn't just sure about, but it's so handy. You're on top of the cattle, you can see what they're looking like, you can walk across them, worm them. It's absolutely stress-free, and it's a really benefit, and I would recommend anyone who puts a system in to definitely put the walkway in. I wanted to put everything in from one company, and I wanted it to work, and this does. Giles and Eric were always on the phone whenever I needed them. Whenever we had a chat, we'd do plans, we'd have a bit of a meeting, see how it went, and I was impressed by the help you got. And when we started to look at the system, we priced it all up, and that system cost the front axle of a new tractor, and I'm safe. And this summer I was lucky enough to go out to New Zealand, and I actually drove past the Pari headquarters and called in and went in to see the guys, and they remembered the system that they'd built for us, and they showed us around the factory. And it was really beneficial to see that, because you could see how well made everything was. They're not just gates that are welded together, they're inserted and welded. It's all robotically done, and it was a really impressive day. I was there for about 3 hours, and they couldn't have been more helpful. I've handled cattle all my life, and it's been like crushes with gates tied up with bits of string. Now we've got what I would consider to be the Rolls-Royce of cattle handling systems. It is so safe, and I can't stress that enough. You've got to be safe. I go up to the market most weeks and see farmers with stookies on and black eyes, and a beast has kicked them or had a go at them. That system is safe, and when you go out in the morning, you'll go back in for your dinner.